talk about decentralization and bank annihilation. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Litecoin, your coin, blockchain, baby. Mondays at 1600 hours Eastern Studio A.
Deep understanding must arise during these times of unparalleled deceit. A view into the depths of society upon which this country has fallen. A storm brews upon the horizon. It's been said that those that have the eyes to see and the ears to hear will play a paramount role in the furthering of humanity and civilized society. But can civilized society and humanity survive the coming conflicts not seen since a dawn of time in ages bypast? But you can find true forms of information and knowledge in abundance at revolution.radio, freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported radio station on the globe. Stand upon the right side of history.
General Homer, you've got to get us out of here now! I won't let you down. I won't let you down, son.
Revolution.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Hi, welcome to Sunday Night Live, going out live from London, and welcome to my co-host, Taj.
Hi, Christine.
Hiya, how are you tonight?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. How are you?
Good. Yeah, okay, it's weird here at the moment. You go out and everyone's coughing, you come back and you feel slightly sick. I don't know if you've experienced that.
No, I haven't been going out too much. Got a bit of an eye infection at the moment.
Oh, really?
Going to go to the optician tomorrow, but
Oh, no. But you're off to LA soon to...
yeah, I know. That's why I want to get it sorted out. I think I was helping my sister paint yesterday, but I got some paint in my eye, and
maybe, yeah.
I can't get it out, so I'm just going to have a look at it.
Oh, damn. There's something called Tears au Naturel. It's French. You get it from any chemist, and it's actually really good. It's just very, very purified water. So you just put it in, and it's awesome stuff.
Yeah, I tried I bought some eye wash from Boots, but tried it 3-4 times, but it seems to be stuck to my eyes. So I don't know.
That's terrible. How did it get in there?
I have no idea. It might be something else, but it's right on the pupils. It's not painful. It's just irritating.
Yeah, doctor or chemist will sort that out. No, that's not very good. Our guests tonight, we've got 2 guests, both authors. We've got Tracy Yates, who wrote a very good book that you can get on Kindle. Amazon. You can download it for free right now, so I urge everyone to take advantage. Hi there, Tracy. Hello?
I guess it's time for me to talk.
Oh, sorry. Hi, Ars. I was just introducing Tracy. He seems to be silent at the moment. You're also an author we've got on who's Ars, Goetia. And you've written a book also, haven't you, Oz?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just little nervous about this interview. I just kept quietly here. Thank you.
That's okay. And your book is on the Watchers, isn't it?
Yes, it's the Book of Watches. It's from my almost last book that I released.
Right. What made you decide to write about them?
To be honest, I don't have a little answer to give. It just came to me on that time. I was have the feeling to write about Forget Angels, and it just happens, you know.
Hmm. Well, it's very good. It's really good. It's called The Watchers, by Ars Aurora, and you can also download that for free on Amazon as well. I really enjoyed it. It was the first time I read about the Anunnaki and Enki and Enlil, and really, swallowed it, without stitching, confusing everything. I thought your version was a lot cleaner, and it really made sense,
Thank you. You're so kind. I really appreciated that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, no, it's true. I don't know what has happened to...
I don't see Tracy on the call, so
You can see him?
no, I don't.
Oh, God.
He's not on the call. So did you add him?
Yes, I did. Are you still there?
I don't see
Hang
him.
on. God, it's so annoying. I mean, I spent so much time with him, like preparing. It's like, whoa. It says he's active now on Messenger. I don't know why he'd not,
Is he not on Skype?
I can't see him on
No,
there. What,
I
sorry?
can, yes, I can listen to you both and I can see. Only my camera is mute. Only my microphone is working right now.
That's okay. It's all right.
It's okay for you both?
Yeah, no, yeah, that's fine. We're just wondering
fine.
where this other person is. He seems to have been AWOL.
I don't know. By
Yeah.
the way, yes, no, it's okay. It's okay.
Oh, golly. I don't know why I bother. I really don't. I mean, I really don't. Wow, I just clearly he's not going to turn up. Okay, Taj, do you want to start off with what you know about Enki and Enlil and the Watchers?
Enki and Neil, I mean, I know mostly stuff that Zachariah Sitchin talks about, but I've seen, I mean, they're basically the Anunnaki, aren't they? So they are credited, as it were, in creating the human race as it is today. They're supposed to have come from Nibiru, Planet X, or whatever you want to call it, whatever that visited, and they were looking to create. I mean, when they came here, I guess there was probably just apes or whatever, maybe some primitive civilization, and they wanted to mine gold here on Earth, and they needed a being that could take commands but still do the work that they needed, which was, mining the gold and so forth. So I'm not sure if they spliced their own DNA or they used some kind of genetic sort of mapping or something. Or they created a hybrid, which is who we are now, as it were, a hybrid of the Anunnaki and whatever humans were around when they last visited. And this was all to do with, if you want to believe in, Planet X, Nibiru, I know there's lots of stories about that as well. There's another planet out there that visits Earth because of its orbit. It comes around to Earth every, I don't know I'm sure it's written down somewhere, every few tens of thousands of years or whatever. And I think the last time it was supposed to be visited was quite recently, but I never actually saw anything like that happen. So I don't know when it's planning on coming back, but I'm not sure it will be a pleasant experience, considering what they did the last time they came here. But that's mostly what I know about the Enki and Enlil Watchers. What I understand, the Watchers are like angels, I think. Is that right? I'm not too familiar with the term. It may be called something else that I'm familiar with.
Is that right, Oz?
Yes, Watchers, like, we can have two dominations for Watchers, right? You have we have Watchers of Enoch. We can refer to him like fallen angels, né? The Watchers of Enoch. And we also have some angels called Watchers from towers from Enochian magic. But the two things are different. They are not a link or allied with each other. We just like two different beings that are put in the book of the Watchers, like on the book of Enoch. We have all the stories from the Enki, from Eliu that comes to Earth on a very fast time to go to save Nibiru. You have all that. They are right from the born of humanity, the born of all the things, the civilizations. But it's very good you point, Trace, right? I'm sorry, but I think he's very good.
Who? Sorry, who is good? Hello?
The explanation from Trace, from the ink, Eliu, the mine of gold, it comes from the air, is very accurate from my point.
It's from the Man of Gold. Is that a book?
No, mine of gold is from get gold from the earth and bring to save the I don't have the exact words to explain like what they're trying to save from Nibiru, but it's like saving the planets from, if we speak from the whole thing. It's trying to save the planet from destruction.
I don't understand. You're saying your English isn't that great, but your book's very good. I mean, it's really clear English, if not brilliant English. How did you write it then?
It was a translator. I never speak English in my life. This is the first time I speak English with someone, to be honest.
Wow. So you used you used an app or something to translate your words?
Yes, we have very good tools on the internet today.
Yeah, that's right. Which app did you use, just out of interest?
I think use the program called Deeply and the program called Grammar. I use the both for translate from my native language to the English language.
All right. I mean, it's really good. I mean, it's very good. It's, everything comes across and it's got no ego in it. So, yeah, it's really good. It was a really good read. Yeah, over to you, Taj. You want to ask us some questions?
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with the Watchers. So maybe if he could explain a bit more about what their purpose was, what they. I'm assuming they came here for a reason. Can Ars explain what I mean, for any of our listeners as well who don't know who the Watchers are, what is his interpretation of who they are and their purpose?
Yeah, sure. Like, we can see the Watchers like from various angels from the Catholic belief, putting all the angels from one book and say they are fallen angels, right? The only true Watchers that we can say that are really Watchers is Samyaza or Shangas from the original name. I found that from the Jesaria book, from all the book is delivered. And we have...
Hang on, is that the fallen angel Shemyaza? Shemyaza?
Oh, okay. Yes. This is, we can say, this is the only true Watchers from the book.
Oh,
We have
hang on, I thought he was a fallen angel rather than a watcher.
Yeah, from the Desire book, we can see the stories from the Lost Book of Enki. We can see him like leading the rebellion against Enki and Liu. He
Really?
took the place. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't understand your question.
No, I'm like shocked. I mean, I'm shocked. So Shemyaza led the rebellion against Enlil, did he?
Yes, that's right. He's leading rebellion against Enki. We have some passage from the book of Enoch saying that. No, I'm sorry. From the book of Enki saying that Samias leaded the angels. There are Anunnaki, right? They are not angels. They are Anunnaki against Enki and Enlil because he wants to get married on the human ladies, right? They are born on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Samias. Oh, okay, you can speak. Sorry.
No, it's okay. No, nobody spoke. It's okay. So in the Lost Book of Enki, it details this, does it?
Yes.
Okay.
The name
Okay.
of Samiasa from the Lost Book of Enki is Shangas, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. And the Anunnaki, didn't they weren't angels, right? They came from another planet, apparently.
Yes, humanity passed to know angels like a being comes from the heavens or from another planet. That's why we have this term Anunnaki, right? The beings comes from the heaven to earth. Anu, sky, is like Nike, earth, or something like that.
But Shemyaza was one of them, was he?
Yes.
Then he was the leader, was he?
Yes, she's the leader.
But
He's the
hang
leader
on.
against the rebellion.
But okay, so if he was a leader, he was a fallen angel. I thought the Anunnaki were, I don't know what I thought they were, but I thought they were maybe like, I don't know what I thought they were actually, like ET maybe or something. Didn't they come here?
You can
get,
see
okay, carry on.
you can see the Anunnaki like alien race, right? It's like an alien race. We see all the spirits from this earth like aliens, like the gods, the goddess, the angels. All of them come from another planet. No beings born on this earth originally comes from this earth, from my perspective.
I think, Christine, you're mixing up the story with the fallen angel with Archangel Michael and the Nephilim, maybe. The fallen angels breeding with humans to create the Nephilim. I don't think
But
that
I
was
just thought,
that linked to.
he's saying, yeah, I know, I've heard that. That's a bit separate, isn't it? The fallen angels mating with the sons and daughters. But apparently, according to Ars, Shemyaza led the Anunnaki. But Shemyaza, I know for a fact, is a fallen angel. So therefore, he is saying that the Anunnaki was having dealings with Shemyaza, who's apparently a fallen angel. I mean, have we got this all right, do you think?
It may just be like a different term for what they were. I mean, I've never heard the Anunnaki being referred to as fallen angels. I know the Anunnaki was seen as gods, but then, I mean, any beings who came from another planet came to Earth, and if we saw, aliens come from another world and they could do fantastic things, we would see them as gods. So, they're not necessarily gods; they're just aliens who had who had technology that was superior to everything.
But so the Anunnaki were hanging out with Shemyaza. Is that right, Oz? They were hanging out with him.
Yeah, Shamyaza is Anunnaki. Okay, we can. Yes, Shamyaza is Anunnaki. It's from the book of Enki, according to Jesaja. Shamyaza is Anunnaki. The church and all the belief system from the book of Enoch, that we all know, we he put he how can I say the right words? He was put like fallen angels, but the originally from the history he was a Anunnaki. You all can understand this, right?
So was he related to Enki and Enlil, or was he like separate?
Yes, he was related to Enki and Leo. They are come from Nibiru according to Jesaria. Samyaza was like, we have the terms for this. It's like the Igiki. I don't know if you are familiar with that. The Igiki is like the Anunnaki who stay on Mars to work, but because they are got really tired because they have no food, they have no love, they just working to make special places to the ships from the Earth comes to Mars, and to Mars go to Nibiru. It's like a transportation system to bring gold to Earth to Nibiru. You all can understand this, right?
Mm-hmm. But then what happened?
So Samyaz and all the Anunnakis from Mars got tired to be enslaved and comes to the Earth, find out that Enk and Leo and all the Anunnakis are staying on Earth, have the woman to like have sex and procreate it. And she's just get mad, you know. He wants that for him. He wants to get married to the woman. He wants get love. He also wants to get honors, all that things. So Samyaza got I guess there's 200 Anunnaki. We know like fallen angels, but not originally they are Anunnaki, and rebel against Enki and Liu to also get marry the woman ladies from himself.
This sounds exactly the same as the story of Archangel Michael, isn't it?
Does it?
Well, he took 200 angels and fought against, like, no, not Michael. Was it? I'm missing. Lucifer. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Well,
He wants to
Lucifer
have
took
sex with women too.
fallen angel and took 200 angels against God. This is a similar. It's a similar story, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Are we sure that Sitchin didn't nick the story, or because this comes from the those tablets, doesn't it? Sumerian text. This sounds the same. Are you there? Carry on.
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to understand what you're speaking. All the Book of Nox comes from the Sumerian tables. All the history from them comes from the Sumerian tables. I have to know some articles that say that the people are trying to translate the Sumerian tables don't know the language, don't know the Sumerian, only the native language, or it's something like the Akkadian language. It can just put something there they think that was right, you know. They don't translate properly. So we have some misunderstanding about the book of Genesis, the Sumerian table, and the book you all know is the book of Enoch. So we have these misconceptions between them.
Right. It's interesting. So carry on then. What happened with Shemyaza? What did Shemyaza do next?
He get allowed to marry women, right? He have much power and much Anunnakis from them. So Enkidu cannot stay against him because he would burn the world in fire. It's like the Jesaria has saying on his book. So the Sumerian tales goes on. I don't remember exactly what's happening, but if I'm not mistaken, they established like gods from the ages, from past in time, and now they are returning, right? Much things
are they coming back? Are they returning?
I mean, Samyaz is definitely returning, right?
Well, no, hang on, I hadn't heard that. I mean, hang on, how do you know that?
I mean, Samyazi was on Earth from the beginning, I believe. Enk and Enlil is, I believe they always stayed on Earth from the beginning. All the Anunnaki are still on Earth from the beginning. But it's like we have a little war, a big war on spiritual plane against the Anunnaki and much, we can say, group of spirits trying to remove them, and much things is happening right now. I don't know if you two resonate with that or no, but it's what I'm seeing on the last months.
Oh, really? Do you want to go over that again so we can sink it all in? So there's a war going on, a spiritual war. Is that the same as the war that's going on with Russia and the rest of the world?
I don't think it's linked to the Russia and the world. I think that is happening right now is because all the darkness from the world is being purified, right? We have the umbral world. In my country we call umbral or hell. And all this darkness from the center of the earth is bringing up to the surface to be purified. So a lot of things is come to the surface, right, to be purified in light. And we have this war against the forces of light, the forces of darkness. One try to be the king, one try to control the earth, and the forces of light don't want this to happen. And so we have a little confusion what is going on right now.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's confusing. So you think that it's the Anunnaki versus the group of spirits, and who are the group of spirits?
I don't think this is exactly like the Anunnaki or the good spirits. We cannot categorize all like good or evil, light or darkness. I think is who wants to control and who wants to let it free, you know. From my perspective, I believe that we have a planetary regency from Christ. I believe this Christ is the ruler of this world, and he, and all the forces of light, we can call aliens, the Arcturians, the Pleiadians, all the gods and goddesses of the world are trying to purify this earth and bring ascension to the world.
And who's the bad guy, so to speak?
This is a difficult question. I don't know. I don't know if I can say that to you. It's more like not that I can say to you, but you can say the bad guys is the ego or the darkness who don't want to be purified. We can just point our fingers and say this God is bad or this God is good, or this Anunnaki is bad or this Anunnaki is good, right? It's just like we on my country we call the dark ones on this relation. We call the dark ones or the lords of the world. So the war is again this kind of group of spirits, right? Dark ones or lords of the world. What I believe in, what I am seeing right now.
So you think it's like ego, human ego, perhaps? Perhaps the dark ones are actually humans?
Maybe, I don't know. You think dark ones is the human being or something else?
Yeah, no, I think it's probably humans. I think we're always looking here, there, and everywhere for evil, and I think it's probably humanity. You know, humanity is quite a selfish creature. It's quite a bestial creature. You know, we abuse children, we treat the poor badly, we're greedy, we hurt other people, and it's all acceptable. And it's just, I think they're sort of a rampant beast that probably needs wiping out. That's just my personal view.
Yeah, sometimes I think like that too.
Mm.
But I try to think like on the point from love and harmony. Humanity always have these faults, but if we see only the bad side, we cannot see the good side. It's obvious we have people who need love, they are hurt, and we have spirits that are hurt and need love. So we have this little confusion about everything that's happening right now. But definitely we have dark ones and spirits from high ranks, we can say that it's battle what we can see is on the war against the forces of light. We can see that. We're not talking about dark or good or bad or evil. It's like who wants to control and who wants to free, no light or dark side.
Yeah, exactly. What are your thoughts, Tosh?
Well, I was watching his interview a few days ago with David Icke and Laura Eisenhower, and he was talking about there's been a split on Earth. There's almost like there's two different consciousness on Earth now. There's the consciousness that's been hijacked, by you could almost say like an AI kind of thing. It's the negative sort of thing where everyone's in panic and fret and all this kind of thing. People who watch mainstream media are being, frightened into doing, the injection thing, and the other consciousness is what you would call, I guess, the Christ consciousness, and it's almost like nothing affects them because they don't, how do I put it? They don't fear anything. It's because they're not in a climate of fear. And it's almost like a split has happened here on Earth. You could say there's almost like two Earths right now. There's like the normies, I guess you could call them, walking around brainwashed, doing their day-to-day lives. And then there's the people who, I'm not saying they're awakened as such, but they're in a higher state of Christ consciousness. They're awake, they know what's going on, they're aware of all the infiltration and all the government cover-ups and the financial system, all this kind of thing. They're aware of it all, but they don't let it affect them. And I was listening to this interview, and I was speaking to Sarah about a similar thing about what happened with the whole 2012 thing and what actually happened. I saw another interview about that, about what really happened in 2012, with everybody expecting the world to end, because the Mayan calendar and all that rubbish. And I was talking to Sarah about that. What actually happened was that's when the split happened. That's when people thought that it was the end of the world. Well, technically, for a lot of people, a lot of people it might have been, but that's when consciousness almost split in two, and the people who were going to ascend, be into a higher state, 5D or whatever you want to call it, they went onto one timeline, and everybody else went into another timeline. So you have these like two timelines, or as David Icke puts it, two consciousnesses existing at the same time in the same place. And that's my sort of interpretation of what's going on in the world right now. But that's sort of like, I always thought the Anunnaki left Earth. So I don't know if they're still here and they're the ones who are controlling this hijacked consciousness in a way. But I know a lot of stuff's being talked about AI and, you could get into things like black goo and all that as well if you want to, really. But I do believe there is almost like two consciousnesses, maybe even more, on Earth right now. But the two main ones are, the hijacked one and the Christ consciousness. I wouldn't really even want to call it the Christ consciousness because it's more of the people who are aware and awake and are not being affected by what's going on. And the hijacked consciousness is trying to take over and wipe out that Christ consciousness. They don't want those people who are awake and aware and, know what's going on because they can affect the other people, the people who are asleep. Because I'm seeing a lot more stuff in mainstream media that, you wouldn't normally see about the financial system and the whole thing with, the injection, and people who are normies, who I would talk to, who would have laughed at me for, 3-4 years ago about, oh, you're stupid, that's a conspiracy theory. All those conspiracy theories are now coming true.
Mm.
And so even people who are, you could say, maybe a bit brainwashed or dumbed down, they're seeing this stuff in the news now and they're questioning things now as well.
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I don't understand the timeline. I don't really think I understand what a timeline is.
So it's like everybody has their own timeline. No two timelines on Earth are the same. There's 8 billion people. Their entire life is different. Every single person's life is different, and they have their individual timeline. Yeah. So like you have your timeline where you get up in the morning, you go to work, whatever. Yeah, and you might have an infinite number of timelines. One day you might have woken up at a different time. You took a different route to work. Maybe you took a different job. It's every single decision you have made in your life that's portrayed in a separate timeline. So every decision you could have possibly made in your life, you have made. And you're living another life in another timeline where you made that decision. Yeah. So in another timeline, you might have woken up and put a red shirt on, yeah, instead of a green shirt. So that creates another timeline. Every decision you make creates a timeline. Yeah. And then you have the collective timeline, which is everybody on Earth. Yeah, they're all on a progressive timeline towards us. I'll explain it to you like with the 2012 event. Yeah. So with the 2012 event, everybody thought the Earth was going to end. And I was talking to Sarah about Project Looking Glass. I don't know if you know about Project Looking Glass.
No.
Government project where they had this machine that could see the future.
Right.
And what they did, they would program the computer to say, if we did this and we did this, what future would happen or what future would be created. Yeah.
Oh,
And the Looking Glass could not see past 2012. And they started programming it with all different scenarios, and every single time they couldn't see past 2012. And they thought that it didn't matter what decision people made, whether they put on whatever shirt, whether they went to work, didn't go to work, whether they, whatever happened, that it didn't matter how they changed that person's timeline. Yeah. They still couldn't see beyond 2012. So they assumed that the world ended in 2012 because that was their only explanation. Because what other scenario would happen that it doesn't matter what decisions you make, yeah, you can't see past 2012. So they couldn't understand why we can't see past 2012. They assumed the world would end because that's the only explanation they could come up with as to why all the timelines converge and everything ends in 2012. But I was watching a video the other day and they explained that what actually happened was the whole thing split, the timeline split. There's a reason they couldn't see past 2012 because they hadn't taken into account the whole ascension thing, that, you could actually see beyond that, beyond 2012. And it's not just a matter of timelines. David, I explained it a lot better than I am, but there was a split, basically. Yeah, there's an interview on, I think it was on YouTube with Laura Eisenhower. I think it came out last week, or maybe earlier this week, where Laura Eisenhower interviews David Icke with another guy. And he explained a lot of it on there. And basically, in 2012, what happened was the timeline split. And we have this Christ consciousness and the whole hijacked thing. And it might be linked to AI, maybe, I don't know. Because I don't know all, everything that's going on in the world and what kind of things they're doing to manipulate the timeline. I'm sure there's people in a lab somewhere with a machine or whatever trying to create a future that, is not particularly pleasant for all of us. Even though the last 3 years haven't been great, I'm sure they're planning things even worse, So,
sorry, carry on.
And I think since 2012, you look at how bad things have been since 2012. Things have been getting progressively worse. And it's almost like they're doing these tests to see, what if we, release this, virus, whatever, will people protest? Will people do what they're told? And it's almost like they're planning, like stage by stage. They tell you a little bit at a time, and they're seeing how much control they can take and how much they can take before people will say anything. And so far, no one's said anything. No one's done anything. People have protested on the streets, but that doesn't do anything.
No,
Nobody's like, even after 3 years of this thing, no one's tried to stop them or do anything or say anything against, whoever you want to call them, cabal, shadow government, whatever. And so I think all these things are like little tests building up to something bigger. I don't know what that bigger thing is. Maybe it's like, the New World Order. Maybe, it's all chipping everyone, put chips in your, hand or whatever, or something. I don't know. Could be anything really at this stage. The global sort of economic system is completely screwed right now anyway. So, yeah, this is what they do. They don't like do one big thing in one go. They sort of drip feed you. They test you to see how you react. Then they plan the next stage and then the next stage, and this has been going on for decades. And it's all about control. How much control. Even things like electric cars, I think, is all.
Oh God, that shit.
About, if everybody has electric cars, then things like lockdown, they could lock you down, turn your car off. Turn your power off, say, oh, you can't charge your car. Always turn your car off so you can't use it. You have to stay at home now. Don't go anywhere. Don't go to work. Don't do this. Don't do that. What are you going to do? The thing is, none of this makes sense to me. All these people wanting electric cars right now. You can't even barely go out and drive somewhere and find a bloody charger to charge your car. What happens in 6-7 years time when we're all supposed to be in electric cars? People will be queuing up at, service stations not to put gas in their car, but to bloody charge their car up, So, and the power grid can't handle it anyway right now. So I don't think they're going to be able to handle it in 7 years when there's millions of electric cars driving around.
What do you think who do you think's controlling all this then? Do you think it's a human control or do you think it's a non-human control that's making everything crap?
I think at the very top, yeah, it's not human. And I'm starting to think it's more towards AI, but I don't know what that AI is or who controls that or who created that even. I think that AI has always been here, but I think as we move more and more towards technology, this goes into the whole transhumanism thing as well, and making us, cyborgs or something. I don't know what you would call them. People wanting to live longer. And always connected to the internet. You can find out information about anything and everyone now. Almost at the click of a finger, just go on the internet. So, and I think the internet's controlled in a lot of ways as well about what information is on there, what information isn't. It's much more easier now to wipe someone off. If somebody wanted to disappear, and they knew what they were doing, it'd be quite easy for them to disappear. They just go on the internet. If you had the right tools, you could wipe all existence of yourself from the internet, and everything, bank records and school records and work records and any, social media. You name it, you could completely wipe someone, as far as electronically speaking anyway. So, I feel this is all building towards something. I just don't know what it is. And because there's so much disinformation out there about a lot of things, it's hard to work out what is true and what isn't. And with the internet's made that worse, by the way.
do you think it's humans actually? Because we've always had in the Roman Empire there was a slave caste, wasn't there? So we're the slave caste. And then there's the elites that are controlling the corporations and the media and, that kind of thing. Do you think that it's them? Do you think that they think as too many of those peasants, just wipe them all out? It's not as if, they'd be too kind to do that.
I think even the elites are controlled. I think anybody you see in public, they're not of any importance. I think the real people are hidden. They will never reveal themselves. You will never know who the person is at the top or even near the top because they don't go on TV. They don't publicize themselves. They don't talk about what they do. that's why nobody knows who they are.
So you think they're non-human?
I'm leaning that way, yeah, because I don't see how.
You think humans couldn't be?
I think I'm not saying the humans are as slaves, but in a way they are, because we allow ourselves to be controlled. So, and these people don't. These people are the controllers. They don't allow anybody to control them. So, I'm leaning towards there. I mean, maybe even the Anunnaki. Who knows? I mean, they created us in a way. So why would they not be in control of us?
Yeah, and like Ars was saying that they haven't gone away, and they've been here all along.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they had gone away. Maybe that was the Zachariah Sitchin story. Maybe that was not quite true then. But I guess it would make sense that if they're going to create a race like us, that they will keep at least some of them here to control us, right? Otherwise, we would just go out of control, do our own thing or whatever. They couldn't have that, could they? So they must have left some of the Anunnaki here on Earth to control us, hidden though. They wouldn't show themselves and be, always people talk about Beyonce or whatever as part of the Illuminati. Yeah, who cares? I mean, she's not important. Anybody who's seen on TV or the media or entertainment, they're not important. They're just puppets being used by higher ups to do whatever, make money or, publicize their agenda. All these people who came out celebrities to pro-vax or whatever, just shows you the kind of people they are.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I hate them. So, and what about these timelines? I mean, can we control our own timelines then each day as we wake up? Can we? I mean, hang on. Is there room in the world for, say, through you and me, we have all these different timelines that we could live, like getting up and going to different places. So say they exist. You were saying that they exist. So there's so many people, there's a lot of us.
Yeah.
So is there room out there for all these different timelines banging into each other?
Yeah, I mean, it's infinite. It can be an infinite number. The universe is infinite. So, yeah, this is the thing I don't understand. I've always questioned about things like time travel. I don't think a lot of that is real because there's so many timelines. How could you possibly predict the future, for example, even an hour into the future? Because how many decisions do you make? How many decisions do you make in the last hour? Yeah, and to predict 8 billion people's decisions over a period of 1 hour, and then predict what the future will be, I find that very, very difficult to believe that anybody could do that, even an AI.
I had a psychic that I went to, and I didn't want to go to see a psychic, so I didn't believe in them. Years and years ago, I was about 22, and somebody said, "Oh, there's this psychic, and go and see him." And I sort of like this guy, and I want to meet him for a drink after. So I thought, well, I'll go along, So I went along to this guy, Mike Becky was called. He's just died, actually, this guy. And I'd started this new job at a detective agency, was really happy. And he said to me, "You think that you're happy in this job, you're going to stay there forever?" He said, "You're going to be gone by the end of the month." And I was like, "What?" And he started saying, "You're going to be gone out of the country. You're going to go somewhere really hot. It's like big pillars. I think it's Greece. Then you're going to come back. You're going to go to America." And all came true, all of it. And he said, "You're going to be linked with the media." I didn't have anything to do with the press. The next thing, I was in the newspapers visiting serial killer. And it was all, unbelievable.
Yeah, there are, like, from what I understand anyway, there are things in your life you can't change. There are things like you can decide like we're gonna have breakfast or whatever. Those are inconsequential. They won't change your timeline. But things like what job you're gonna have, whether you're gonna have kids, who you're gonna marry, things like that, they're almost like fixed. So it doesn't matter what decisions you make, you'll always end up in that job. Or it doesn't matter what decisions you make, you always marry that person in the end.
Oh, that's creepy. What is that then?
That's almost like a decision you made even before you were born. That you're going to live this life, you're going to do this, and do this. Yeah, but the inconsequential things, like what you have for breakfast and that, those don't matter. They don't affect your timeline in that way. The same as if, like, there is a, what did I call it? A universal timeline that everybody adheres to. and certain events, like major worldwide events, cannot be changed, and they will happen in every timeline. Things like 9/11. 9/11 would have happened in every single timeline because it's such a big event and has such an effect on the timeline. There's no way to change it or stop it, in any way. People say, well, if you had a time machine, why don't you go back and kill Hitler? Well, you wouldn't be allowed to. You couldn't do it because it's affected every single timeline. The consequences of that would be completely, some people say, could destroy the universe or whatever, but the consequences of doing that one thing, killing Hitler, would affect every timeline. If it's something small that would only affect one person's timeline, or something like you went back and you stopped someone, I don't know, they took a different work route because they had a car accident, and because you made them change their route to work, they didn't have that car crash. Or something like that. That would only affect that one person maybe, or a small group of people, and you may get away with that, but it doesn't affect the entire planet. So, things like that, I think about a lot, sometimes, but things that affect the entire planet cannot be changed, I don't think, because it's such a big thing. And of course, there's no way to predict what the future would be like if Hitler had died. It could have been worse. We could have had a worse future, so the consequences, you can't they wouldn't allow it, whoever, is in control here. They would never allow something like that to happen.
What's another name for a timeline, do you think?
I don't know. You could say it's your fate or whatever. Your
fate line.
Your I don't know if you believe this or not, but a lot of people say that before you were even born, your life is already mapped out for you.
I think I do. Do you know it's in the Bible? We live our lives as a tale that is told. And after I had that psychic predict, I thought he just predicted everything, even predicted I'd have a son. It was like he did the whole thing, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is it's fate in a way. It doesn't matter what you do in your life. Certain events will always happen in your life. But it almost like, like you'll run into someone, I don't know the best way to put it, but like your timeline or your fate, your future is already planned out. And the little things you can change, but you'll always end up in the same place. So that's the only way I can explain it, really.
What do you think of that? Ars, are you still there?
Yes, I was listening very carefully what Tracy is saying. I believe in everything she. Yes. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I believe everything what Tracy is saying. It's like I think timelines like a stage of conscious. Like we have our own conscious, right? And we can vibrate through high or low frequencies. So we have the collective timelines of the world, right? This is why the war is going on. Like the Christie's consciousness, the force of ascension, what I've been calling the last days, are trying to break the war timelines, like the destruction or the apocalyptic timelines. You are trying to remove this what can I say, this acts from the world to bring a word of peace or a word of love or a word of ascension. The timeline is like we are all connected, but we can live on his own conscience. I don't know if one can understand me.
Higher consciousness, cosmic consciousness?
Yes. It's like we have all our lives. We have our life missions. We have some, what can I say, acts to do on your life, on our life. Everything's have like a karmic contract before we're born. Some things can happen. It's our decision to do or not do what is previous for your life, like marry someone or meet someone. It's like different paths cross to each other, but all depends on our choices. Like, I can choose to move to another city to meet someone, but if I'm not, this timeline, we can say that, will be broken, right? It will not happen. Or maybe you are the spirits of, we can call guides, can move this timeline to another time of 1 year later or 2 years. It's what I'm feeling is the last days about this. It's like the change of many things to happen in the world to bring so much more good for everything, for all humanity.
Exactly. What do you think, Taj?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think I do think our lives are already pre-planned, and I mean, it's a difficult one because you know, in a way, if your life's already pre-planned, it's almost like, you know, what is the point? But
Yes.
and you see these people, you know, living a miserable life, and you think to yourself, oh, well, they agreed to that before they were even born. So why would you agree to living such a life? You know, maybe there's some lesson in that. I don't know. There's some, you know, maybe karma in there that they've had to live that life because of previous karma, and they have to live a bad life or, you know, whatever to clear that karma in some way. And then you see people who are rich and they're complete arseholes, and you wonder what are they going to learn from that?
Yes,
You know,
exactly.
and it's like, you know, a lot of it doesn't make any sense to me, but I'm sure there's some, you know, higher reason for it, which, you know, maybe we're not supposed to understand. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about that.
Oh yes,
It's
true.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's like we have our missions, right? So we can born from best karmas. We can do something that is not for our highest good from past lives. We born a new life. Everyone's born on this life is born for a purpose. We live to improve ourselves, to be more good, not to suffer. I don't think anyone who lives who born on this life is to suffer or to to be an evil person.
So thank you. I think we're going to get cut off now. That's the studio music calling us out.
Okay.
Thank you, Ars, for coming on. Thank you, Taj. That was great. And thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks, bye.
You're listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Still out there?
You going back in? There's still men out there. God damn. When I go home, people ask me, hey, Hoot, why do you do it, man? Why? Some kind of war junkie? I won't say a goddamn word. Why? They won't understand. They won't understand why we do it. They won't understand it's about the men next to you. And that's it. That's all it is.
Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, #1 listener-supported radio, the printing press for freedom at a time when freedom is needed the most.
I am Bill Johnson. Some consider my efforts to be an underground law school. I am not an attorney, and I do not give legal advice. I teach. That's lawful and legal. Consider yourself served. You are to appear Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, Studio A. My forte? Foreclosure and contract law. Grab your legal pad and pen. Learn a broad spectrum of law spanning administrative, criminal,